these splits are not as long as they seem. We're already through week 2.
5 teams with 3-1 records, all tied for first place.
CLG, they were always in the conversation for #1, then they lose to TSM, and then they don't recover.
Once again, CLG with the better start to the season, come in with a whole bunch of momentum, but TSM control the rivalry.
This is the first time that Dignitas has had 3 wins in a row since summer of last year.
Dignitas at the top of the table at the end of 2 weeks.
We're going to have to see how good this Gravity team is and whether they can maintain a level of consistency.
Sneaky's nowhere to go. Optic takes him out. A triple kill for the new AD carry.
Looks like Liquid can re-enter this fight perfectly, and they're going to start melting down Team 8 here.
The real test will be how they handle adversity as they get into the tougher part of their schedule.
With TSM playing Dig and CLG playing Gravity, we'll finally see some separation at the top of the standings.
Welcome to week 3 of the North American League Championship Series Summer Split. Now we're coming to you in front of this amazing crowd here live from our studios here in Los Angeles. As you can see, there's plenty of energy in the building. Enemy not too long ago, all business before they prepare for their first match of the day against Team 8. Here's Dodo, Slushy, Nien, under the watchful gaze of their coach, history teacher, making their way to the stage. Hello, everyone. I'm James Dash Patterson, and sharing the analyst desk with me are Aiden Zyrene Moon and Sam Kobe Hartman Kensler. Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are we doing today?
Good afternoon. Great that you said afternoon.
S+. Yeah, well, Freak always nags me for saying good morning, so I finally, made the switch. Well, we've got a packed field at the top of the standings with 5 teams all sharing a piece of first place. So, guys, we have to ask, who are the contenders and who are the pretenders? Now, to get a sense of each of these teams' strength of schedule, we've put together the top teams and arranged them by their opponent's record. In this graphic, blue squares denote wins, red ones losses.
Right, we've got a nice little visual representation here, and you can see what we're talking about when we say strength of schedule. The teams that TSM beat actually has a positive win record for the first couple of weeks here, 7-5. Meanwhile, on the other end of the spectrum here, Dignitas, their opponents, while they are also 3-1, their opponents have only won a single game. So pretty big variance. Obviously, it's a 10-team league. Until week 5, there's going to be a big difference between the opponents that each team faces.
All right, well, now let's break down those top 5 teams. Let's start off with CLG, though.
Right, exactly. CLG, I think this is a team that is definitely one of the contenders. They started the split so strong, 3-0. And it's not just that they won those 3 games, it's how they looked in the game. They were very impressive wins. Zion Spartan has really been showing up for the team. Poe Belter's been integrated very nicely into the team. The thing is, CLG fans always get a little bit nervous after they lose to TSM because they did drop that game, their most recent game, to TSM, because they have this pattern of, going on tilt, just losing several games after they lose to TSM. That's going to be on their coaching staff as well as the players to break that pattern. I don't think that there's much to that pattern, but it does exist.
Yeah, a team I want to touch on for contender versus pretenders, one that you did at the top with was Dignitas. 1-11 is what their opponents' records are right now. And even though Dignitas is 3-1, a lot of that was off the back of Zingy and his early game aggression. And he's gone now. Helios is coming into the mix, and I feel like Dignitas is definitely in the pretender category right now. They haven't really faced a team that's looked good, and even though they faced Cloud9 and won, beating Cloud9 in this season is the first time where it's not actually a big accomplishment to do so. So they're definitely in the pretender category.
And then we look at the team that did have the toughest schedule in TSM after their first loss against C9, which had some people a little bit shaken. They look to have righted the ship here. However, they're still a little Bjergsen reliant there in the mid lane, so that's possibly an area that teams could attack moving forward.
Yeah, I think that's a great weakness to have. If your weakness is, hey, I have Bjergsen as my mid lane, I think everybody will agree with you that TSM are definitely contenders.
Yeah, and another team that I want to talk about is Team Liquid. They're 3-1, and even though that their strength of schedule was 2-10, just a little bit better than what Dignitas had, I feel like they're more in the we do have to wait and see what this team has to offer, because they play Cloud9 and they play Impulse. So we get that rematch of the 3rd, 4th place match, and I want to see where Liquid stands, because the jury's still out on that team.
Right. And then the final 3-1 team is, of course, Gravity. And they made a lot of improvements from just week 1 up till week 2. They cleaned up both their individual play as well as their shot calling, and their off-season changes really seem to be working out already very quickly, which is impressive. We only have to look at last week's OP5. They had 3 of the OP5 from last week. So very good improvements from Team Gravity. But the thing is, whenever we are an organization approaching a system with a continuous improvement initiative, the hardest part is to retain the benefits of those improvements. And you have to standardize and document so that you can build on those improvements in the future and not lose out on what you've been able to improve on already.
And when it's such a drastic improvement in such a short amount of time, I'm always very skeptical to be like, are they really
exactly.
that
Couple of
good?
games, they haven't, proven consistency yet.
Yeah, the sample size is tiny. Now, there is one other new variable that teams will have to factor into their strategies going into this week. Echo is available in the LCS. And if the European LCS is any indicator, he could go anywhere. We could see him top, jungle, mid. He was played 5 times, 1-4 record, though, so not a ton of success.
Yeah, people are still learning the champion and his weaknesses. But I was talking to teams, and the biggest thing is pick ban right now because they have to throw in Rise and Echo. Do you let them both up and get one? Do you ban both? It's like everybody's still adjusting this week.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I'm really excited for Echo because he has come out strong. However, it's going to take a while for people to get to learn how to use him. He's a lot harder. He's more difficult to use than Rise. So really, this is a good test for teams of how well they can pick up new champions very quickly. And you're always excited to see that.
All right, well, let's pull up the standings to get the full view of the field. Now, behind the first 5 teams tied for first, we've got Enemy Esports and Impulse in 6th place. Cloud9 is in 8th with 1 win, followed by Team 8 and TDK in 9th. Then turning to today's matches, we have Enemy Esports and Team 8 taking to the Rift in our first game. After that, it's TSM versus Team Dignitas. And we'll conclude our day with another battle for first place with Gravity versus CLG. Then tomorrow, be sure to join us for our game of the week with Team Impulse versus Team Liquid. Some of you will remember this as our 3rd place matchup from the Spring Split playoffs, where Team Liquid came out on top. As we mentioned, though, this will be the first real test for Liquid this summer after their 3-1 start. And next, we want to get your input on our question of the day. We're asking what new development in the NALCS has you the most excited and why? Send your favorite roster changes, team strats, Echo to @LolEsports with the hashtag LCS. We'll be sharing the best of the best a little later on. Now, this split, we saw the return of several LCS players. Among them was Inox. His journey back into the league has reignited his love of playing and had a profound effect on how he approaches the opportunity to compete on the big stage.
I was always told by my peers to take every opportunity I can get, and that the ones who really succeed are the ones that never stop trying and just keep going at it no matter how much they get shut down. If I was to say that I was the same person that I was on EG, I'd be called a liar. I was definitely a happy person. Same with the rest of my team. We all love to be like the comedians, the jokers, like always having fun with things, but I was a pushover when it came to things, and I didn't know how important everything was. It was my first year doing like real esports. I had a lot of opportunities for even simple things such as interviews or going to events and like even interacting with fans on social media or going out and signing things. I didn't really know what to think of those, and I was a really shy person. I missed a lot of opportunities and I had a lot of regrets. 3/4 into my time on EG, I found I can't let that stuff get to me. Like, this is my time. I don't have that long in esports. I need to make use of every little second I've got. When I first started capitalizing on that chance to interact with my fans, do those interviews, I knew it's just what I should have been doing in the first place. It was so much fun, and I could really see the growth every time I do something like that. And not only that, just making someone else happy, because like, I would take the time out to do something like that. I love it. When the time came and I parted ways with EG, I already knew what I wanted to do, which was to continue playing. I was actually set on the mindset of, I need to fix everything that I did wrong in this past year. I now know and have the knowledge. That was just really the driving factor of me finding Enemy. At first, I didn't really know what to think going back into the challenger scene, but As maybe a week, 2 weeks went by, I knew that it was probably for the best so I could get my fundamentals down as a mid laner. I knew that at the time I wasn't ready for the LCS. Being on enemy now and being in the mid lane, it's a lot more natural to me. And that's really just like what gives me the sense of being like relieved. Game 4 against CDK, when we were in that deciding match to make it into the LCS, I actually didn't realize in the final fight that it was the final fight.
Flares goes in, Inox as well. The squishy's all going down. It's only Seraph, but Seraph, guys! That's gonna be the game. Enemy Esports. Welcome to the North American League Championship Series.
I've never streamed so hard. I felt like I had finally made it, like I finally did what should have been done. We're all aware, like my team and I, that getting into the LCS was the first of our struggles. The struggles ahead are a lot more tough. I've learned how to handle my confidence, how to deal with like at those moments where you question yourself. This is my dream, this is what my brothers dreamed of doing, and I just really want to be able to make it. I want to be able to go back and show my family like, hey, look at this crazy stuff I'm doing. Like, I'm a professional gamer, I've got this stuff going for me. Look at all this following I've got. And I made it.
Yeah, and